there's a line that runs right there. You see it? So it runs all the way around the whole cut. And it's fine. It's just a line. The line comes from the way we cut hair. Because you can only cut layers how many ways? These. So if we pick a hair up, we cut layers this way. This is it's a great haircut. So we cut a layer here. We can turn to the side and cut it here. We can over direct forward. We can over direct the back. We can do 45-degree angle here. We can do convex, concave. We can pull it out this way, go here, over direct, over direct. Any other way. We can think we're real cool and point about it. And I'll tell you why that's a problem in a little bit.
Yeah, because
it's just my opinion. It means nothing, but I like it, so if y'all take it, great. But from here, how many other ways can we cut layers if you think about it? You can only cut hair 3 ways: circle, square, and triangle. There's no other way. If you think about it, most haircuts are done that way. It's either square, circle, or triangle. So what I've done is taken all 3 ways, put them together, and move angles with them. Make sense? Mm-hmm. So if we look at this, like I said, we have to do 4 sections. So the haircut is always cut on or where she parts. Okay, the reason I put it where she parts is because this is where she parts it all the time. And I don't want to part it in the middle and do that because she doesn't part in the middle, so it's not her haircut. Make sense?
Yeah.
This is the way I do my layers on short hair, long hair, on everything. This is not just to fix the line, but everybody has the line. I can pull any of you guys up in the room and you have the line. And it's just pretty simple. Yeah, you have a line. Okay. If you look at it like this, and let's look at life in general, okay? And the way we look at it, if we look at hair, and then I'll talk about life with this. So the way it looks, her hair is very thick and comes here, but when we get here, it's thinner, right? Mm-hmm. That's how everybody's hair is. So it's like in life. Anything in life with a thick, round bottom bounces. Right? Anything with a flat bottom doesn't move. Like nobody's ever gone to the gym and said, I'm working out so hard this year, I'm getting the flattest bottom anybody's ever seen. Nobody wants it. So let's look at it that way. So it's the same thing with hair. So what we've done with hair is we have this thick round here, but it's a flat bottom. So how do we make it bounce? We curl it. True? We curl it. It's pretty simple. So let's look at this. I want to take the line out, which is going to give her a thicker bottom, and make it bounce. So if we take this whole section, and you pick the whole section up, all you have to remember is this: 90 degrees off the head and 45 degrees back. And the 45 degrees back is your finger angle. So we take this whole section, and we come here. And you remember I said earlier that I cut circle, square, and triangle. So if we look at it like this, here we go. Here's your circle. Here's my square. And then there's my triangle. So it's 3 ways you move an angle. So if we look at it here, my guide never moves. My guide is my fingers. She starts getting thin. If I comb it to the side and do this, you can see the exposure. You see that? See where the line is in her hair. But if I comb it here, how we cut hair normal, it's perfect. Mm-hmm. So that's where it collapses. So I bring it over here at 90. I kick this out. I go 2 fingers. I get here. I kick it back at 45. And I just come straight in
and cut it.
And cut it off. 2 fingers deep. So the harder this line is here. Got it? All right. The softer, smoother, rounder, and thicker this line's going to be. Her hair's going to look long on this side also. So I take this whole section. I come over. And I completely...
Oh, that's good.
Makes sense?
Yeah.
It's pretty simple. So that's the thing. You see how smooth and round this is now with no line.
Wow.
So that's what you're doing. You're taking the layers, and the key is your finger angle. So it's 90 here, 45 back.
Yeah.
The way I came up with that is because if I lay the comb on the head, there's a 45 degrees. This is flat. This is 45. If we do the 45-degree forward, it's the same thing as doing square layers, is what we're doing here, because we're cutting square on round, and it never fits. That's why she has the line. Make sense? So it's always 45 degrees back. So think about it like this. Nobody wants a haircut that's short in the front, long in the back, because it's called a... Thank God Billy Ray Cyrus looked good. But from there, if it's the other way and it's long in the front, short in the back, she has that movement. Make sense? So that's all you have to remember. So we'll just simply take this next side, and it's this simple. We take this whole section, it comes across, and if we look here, look where it's exposed. See that? But we don't see it because as hairdressers, what we look at, and I'll get into this in a minute, we look at what we're taking off here, not what we're leaving on. And I think that's one of the biggest mistakes we ever make is because we look at this and we cut this off, and that's where point cutting comes in. We cut this off, but what are we leaving on is this.
Oh, man.
Make sense?
Yeah.
So watch, we just take this, and everywhere the hair touches the head, distance creates what? Length. So when distance creates length, it creates the round layers, so it creates a roundness here, so we're able to manipulate hair to do what we want it to do. So watch, I bring this over at 90. When I get out here, 2 fingers, I kick it back at 45. Got it?
Yep.
And I literally just lay my shears right in, my HHP, and cut this off very clean. When this falls, harder that line is, okay? Softer, thicker, rounder, and smoother. This side. Of her hair smoother.
That's beautiful. Look at that.
Any questions?
Beautiful.
Yes. What are you confused about? What confused you? How it happened? Okay. I don't know what you're confused about, so I can't help you there. Like you're just confused about how it falls. Okay, here, but you can only cut hair so don't think too much into it. All I'm saying is like when you do this, if you look at it from here and it drops here, see the circle? Here's your square, and there's your triangle.
It's beautiful. Oh, there.
Now fingers. See that? How it drops back, comes back here, across and back around. Exactly. So when it comes out and you drop it back, there's your triangle that comes here. Yeah, I mean, you're not actually seeing a real triangle. Yeah, no, but it is, it's that way. It's just from there. You have
That's interesting.
Square. So if I did it this way, so if I came off straight off the
Europeans
head
cut
this
the
way,
hair.
it's going to be a square leg.
That's how I learned to
See
cut
that?
hair.
But I move it, that would be a triangle forward, triangle back. Just that angle. It
Much
gives you that
easier.
45 degrees to gift it. So if we look at the front, the whole, yes, baby. Stop. When I look at her here, as soon as I assess her hair, everybody, it doesn't matter how long, how short, whatever it is, the hair, it always falls on anybody. Everything I've ever cut, everybody I've ever looked at, unless it's just insane amount of crazy layers, falls 2 to 3 fingers from the bottom. That's it. So you look at her, and she was only 2 fingers deep, so I just put 2 fingers in her here. What didn't need 3. I leave. That's when I come to the end. That's where I stop. From the end to here, I do 2 fingers. That's my guide. I used to have a traveling guide from the middle, so but when it stops from the middle, it never reached
I want to see what it looks
exactly
like.
perfect, so nothing was exactly right. So this is the same, no matter how many times you move it. This is always going to be the same one. So that's your guide, because you're not cutting exactly to the. You're cutting to the head shape, and you're making it her haircut. Make sense? Okay. So everything's cut in the front 2 quadrants. So if you forget how your angles are supposed to lay, stand behind, put your hands in the crown, and do this. There is how it's cut. Make sense? Long in the front, short in the back. Here, this way. Here, this way. There's your 45 degrees. Everything's cut in the front 2 quadrants. So we take the back left, and I move it to the front right, over the eyebrow, because the eyebrow is the furthest point from the back quadrant. So watch, I take this whole sectioning, I come across to the front eyebrow, and check this out. Look at the exposure she has here. But if I hold it up, it's perfect. But look, so now the reason her hair doesn't bounce is because the exterior and interior, the interior is heavier than the exterior. So now I want to flip it around and make the interior lighter. So I'm coming over her eyebrow at 90, I kick this back at 45, and there's my 2 fingers. Okay? So I come right in, kick it back at 45, I'm using my HHP, and I cut this right off. So if we look at this now, I bring this around, the interior is going to fall short, and the exterior is long. So let's compare both sides to each other beside each other. So if I come here and comb this, and I come through and comb that, what side's flat and what side's not?
I can't see. Yeah.
Okay, so again, round bottoms bounce, square bottoms don't. So if I look at it from here and I wave this side of her hair, it's going to move like the ocean. Okay? This side's going to be like a fish that fell out of the ocean. It's just flopping on the beach. It's just simple from a visual standpoint. Now I'll turn it to this side to do this. So look. See the movement this has? No matter how much I do this, I can do this one the same way. And you see how it just flops.
Yeah.
Okay? So let's look at this.
Yes.
Here, flop. See the difference? And how that just kind of waves. It just moves. So that's what it is. You're taking the interior and exterior and flipping them around and making them move. So we come here and simply take this. We bring this across and cut this off. So when this comes here at 90, I kick this back at 45 and I come through and cut that off. I cut in between my hands so you guys can see it cut. So from here, everything falls around and drops in super soft.
Very nice.
Yes.
So, would you have to cut your,
We're going to last,
quarter last?
always. Because if you cut this is how hairdressing works. The first piece of hair you cut in any haircut is the guide for the whole haircut. Make sense? So as hairdressers, if we go through and the first thing I do is do this. That's my guide. So then I have to match the interior to exterior, and it's harder to match the interior to X. Now, if they're doing a major change, like if you're going to say from here to here, I would cut this off roughly. Then I would cut this, and then I would finish this. Make sense? It's only with major changes that you cut the length off heavily first. Outside of that, you don't. Because otherwise, and I'm not going to do anything to her bottom, so I'm going to do her bottom for my next model. But I want to show you guys some interior work here. So let's talk about point cut. How many of you guys point cut? Why?
Soften it. Soften it line.
Leaves no lines. Softens it. What else?
Bends it.
Removes weight. Adds depth.
Right, yeah.
Looks good.
Looks cool. Not that it looks good. It looks cool. Let's do that a whole different way. So it looks cool because everybody wants to look cool. It's just simple like that. So here's my question. I quit point cutting a while back simply because I don't make lines in the hair. And it's not an egotistical thing. It's just a fact. I don't do that. But when this came out, I used to do a ton of razor cutting. I love razor cutting.
Yeah.
That was my thing until I started working for Hanzo, because I just started using shears and started doing cooler things with shears. The difference between a razor cut and a cut with shears, razor cuts at a 45-degree angle. That's why you get the little bit of the bend. That's why you get that movement. So I needed something to work with that. So they came out with this, not for me, but they came out with this VT1, and the blade here is cut on a 45-degree angle. So there's your razor cutting. People don't like blending shears simply because of serrations. The serrations happen when you cut, it flips the hair in and serrates the top of it so you get lines. None of our blending shears have lines, have serrations, so you can't create lines. So I started point cutting with this and doing frames on the face, and I'll do frames on the face with my next model. But if we come here and we point cut, this is the age-old question. We point cut like this, right? When we can point cut here, I mean, just the basic way you go in and out. So here's my question. Are you removing weight or moving weight? Removing it.
Moving it.
So again, as hairdressers, we're looking at what we're doing here, not what we're doing here. Make sense? So it's just like if your mother says, okay, clean your room, I got guests coming over. Why would they come in your room anyway? But clean your room, I got guests coming over, you take all your stuff and shove it in the closet. It's still a damn mess. But it's in the closet. Same thing here. We're coming here, this looks cool, but the line's here. So we're softening this line and putting a line here. Make sense? No matter how deep your point cut, you're still putting a line in it. So, again, because it's square on round and it doesn't fit, so look at this. I come through with my VT1, I pick this up where the hair can stand up on its own and curve it. So when I curve it, it fits the head shape because the head shape's round. So wherever you want to point cut, this is fine, but this actually removes the weight. So I just start this here, open and close, and feed through. Make sense? So when I feed through, I'm creating round point cuts. And when I lift this up, It's soft.
Because you're
Makes
taking
sense?
it out of the way that it lays.
Falls the way it lays, yeah. So it comes here, and this wraps around her head shape. And now that looks cool. Make sense? So when you feed it through, it's just removing that weight. So let's go through and give her some height. So how do you create height on hair in hair?
But shorter.
Short to long. It's short to long, or you remove it at the scalp. Yeah, remove it at the scalp. That's the only way to make hair move, is if you get rid of it. So I'm going to my 14 teeth. Okay, this has curved teeth here. Okay, and I want to remove her weight and create height through the top. So I'm coming 2 fingers from her part. So check this out. When I come 2 fingers from her part, I take this sectioning. I come over to the opposite side. So watch this. I take this out of my hand and I roll it. So now it's upside down. Bottom's top, top's bottom, okay? Teeth are on top. So I come here and I weave.
Yeah.
Oh, I've done
I
that.
close, I push to the scalp. Open, don't pull out. Come half, close and push.
Yeah.
I open, I come a quarter, close and push. So watch this. So when this is combed out, this creates 1,000 little weight lines in the haircut. Short supports long, it helps it move, but here's the key. From here, you would think stuff pops out, but watch this, because the ends around on all of these shears, look, nothing.
So doing that would be based on you using those type of shears?
These type of shears, because the teeth are curved, and it does this. So watch this. When I come here and comb this to the side, and I push it, she has height. Any questions? Does somebody want to try this?
Teeth are on the top.
They're both. You out, bro? Love you, man. Have a good one, brother. John Mosley, everybody, give it up. Stand on that side. Absolutely. Because you're not roughing up. The key with it, the reason people quit using blending shears on curly hair is because most blending shears made have square bottoms. So when you go into curly hair and cut in this way, the hair pushes out, gets stuck in the teeth. That's where you get that pull. And that's where you get that tear on curly hair. So from there, now the teeth is round, so everything slips out. Okay? So here you go. 2 fingers.
So you don't want to do it on part either?
Well, maybe,
Like
no.
below the part.
I mean, can you? Yes, but I just tell people don't, because people get like ridiculous. And I always just say, just to be safe, always have something to cover your stuff. Always be like a cat, cover yourself up in a sandbox. Like that. Breathe. Come out to your fingers. All right, close and push all the way to the scalp. All the way. Okay, open, don't pull out. Come half. Close and push. Open, quarter. A quarter. There, yeah, that quarter. There, close and push. Done. So if you look at it like this, check this out. So first time she's ever done it, look, there's nothing that's gonna pop out from here. See that? So when I take this and comb this over, she's gonna get high.
Sorry.
You're fine. No, you're not.
2 fingers all the way down the parietal ridge, and 2 fingers into the crown forward.
Okay, so you're taking 2 fingers out that way, right? So like if I was gonna do this on the side, I would take 2 fingers.
2 fingers, 2 fingers, 2 fingers down the parietal and go opposite.
Do you do both
Makes sense?
sides?
Good job. Any questions?
Do you do both sides?
Yeah, she did.
Do what? 13 teeth. No, 14 teeth. I get them mixed, they're 14 teeth, because the 14 teeth has 13 teeth, the 13 teeth has 28 teeth. But this is the 14 teeth. I've always got it mixed up in my head. So let's look at her fringe bangs area, okay? So I want us to just shake this up a little bit. So I want to take this whole section, and the key is, I want to bring this to the opposite side
Yeah. It's just like
and
that.
soften it.
Yeah.
So when I bring this over to the opposite side, I come to the arch of her eyebrow and bend it slightly.
Oh, bend it.
Because I have no idea why people cut bangs so hard here, because you want to have a little bit of movement here to drop in. Make sense? So I bring this over to the side of the eyebrow. You know what? Let me switch this.
Really cool.
I'm going to show you guys one of my favorite shears.
Oh, it's so
Cutest shear ever,
cute.
right?
Oh.
4.5 inches. And I always switch to a 4.5 inch shear or like a 5 inch when I'm going around people's faces, Because it's uncomfortable to have 6.5, 7.5 inches whipping around somebody's face. 4.5 scares nobody, let's just be honest. So if we come here, I bring this over to the opposite side. So I come here, and I arch it slightly, so watch this, okay? I'm gonna do my best to stand out of the way. But I'm coming here, and I stop, arch of the eyebrow, I start in high, I'm coming across, I'm coming down toward her nose. When I get to her nose, I stop, and I C-shape this out in a 0-degree elevation. See this?
Huh.
Okay? I never go past the nose because I want the over direction, because the over direction, the distance creates length. So watch how this is going to fall. So I come here, and it falls perfect. So this splits over here for her, and this softens her here, which is what she wanted. She wants this to be soft and for this to fall over. Do you see that?
So, can you do it again so I can see you do it? I mean, just pretend to do it again.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Pretend this way.
I'll pretend to do
Yeah,
it.
I
So
couldn't
look, we
see.
come here,
Uh-huh.
I come in deep, and pretend cutting. I stop at her nose, and I C-shape this up.
Okay, gotcha. Very cool.
I'm pretending.
You did do it.
We just cut it again. See how soft it falls?
Yeah, it's very
And it
nice.
gives her that soft look that drops through here. Any questions?
No, that's good.
Or you're gonna have a vacate bang.
So we come here. Do you want me to? Okay. I'm starting here, and I'm coming in here. Cutting. I come to the nose, I stop, and I C-shape it out. Yes, I'm lowering this, I come down. I'm starting high and coming down to the nose. I'm not going to make it like that Lord Christmas on Dumb and Dumber, I promise. I'm getting ready to. So if we look at this, now I want to blend in this where this was cut hard. And this is just how it happens. It's just how we cut. When we do angles around his face, we always hit that one clump. So I go back to my VT1, but I take it out of my hand here, okay? I take it out and flip it upside down.
Yeah.
So now I can control it. So I look at this here. I pull this back because this part here is the top of hair, okay? This is not face framing people. I don't know why we started doing this. I don't know what happened. But it's not. So from here, I want to blend this in and soften it. So I come here, I lay it on her eyebrow. You see that? Can everybody see it? So I'm only cutting this once.
You better explain it.
Okay? I can't say it for so long, but look, you come here and you lay the blade on the side of her face. And it comes here, right off the arch of her eyebrow, and I close and slide through. See that?
Slide.
I close and slide through. I come through, close and slide through. You see how soft it does? It softens everything up and creates all of this softness around her face with this VT1 to blend everything in and to soften that up.
That's nice.
Yes, ma'am.
I wanted to just kind of see your posture of how you're holding the
How, like in real life or like up here?
Just like turning it around.
Like I'm doing real, like how I'm doing this.
Yeah.
Okay, we hold shears here. So all we're gonna do, you hold it up, take this out, turn it upside down. You're not moving anything, it's just here. You turn, okay, so when you put your fingers in it here, now this becomes your pinky. Rest your middle finger on the thing. So that gives you that whole thing, because then you're able to carve and do what you want to do with it here. So I can still come here and soften just this side a little bit. So when this comes in, I want to get this out of the way and just soften around her face this side. So I literally just come in, lay this, I come in soft, I come in soft. See how it just softens all that up around her face? It just takes that weight out here, so when this comes over, everything moves in.
Beautiful.
Hey, Lane,
Yes, sir.
you just set a new record at Freeway Orlando for the most attendees to a class.
Thank you, love. Yes, sir.
So, because I actually asked you whether we should do Tori. I mean, are all of them curved like that? No.
Which will wait.
I don't know, I got.
The ones that we have one that's really curved, and then we have the BT ones. The 13T is super curved. That's the one that's overly curved. So what time is it now? 1:30? We got. What time is it? Oh, 15 minutes. So I'll go through and show you guys the back of hers first, and then I'll go through and cut the interior. Yes.
What? March something.
I do the whole thing. Because I
know what that
come in and anytime I do anything, I always create layers over layers over layers. It's like putting a heavy curtain and a sheer curtain over it. Does it make sense? Not that I decorate, I'm terrible. But that's what it's like, because you always want a sheer to hang over something heavy, or something heavy to hang over something sheer. So when I come through and do the full length, it completely gives those that steps and creates that softness. Because most people are very weak here. So when we try to make it heavy, it doesn't bring their face in as much. If we make it light, it opens their face up. Heavy drops in, light opens up. Make sense? Half. Half. I closed it half.
No, you're
So let's do
fine.
this. You know what? I'll do the whole haircut real quick, and then we'll go through. You want to turn it?
Can you do a white cape?
I'm gonna go. Let's go in deep with her. Let's cut.
She wants a white.
Can you do a white cape?
Love it.
Kind of a
So I
white
can
cape.
see the hair
I don't
better?
have it.
You don't have one?
I actually left it home. You can still see the hair, believe me.
Okay.
You'll see this because we're gonna cut some stuff off.
Uh-oh.
Okay, so let's do this kind of real time. And we'll do the 90-45, and I'll show you guys on long hair how it's going to fall. I'll do this first cut of how I would regularly cut it, but then I want to cut her heavier layers to change this whole look. So I would take the whole section here, and it's simply like this. I'm using my HHP again, because I truly love this shear. I'm never going to use another shear. But I come here. But honestly, one of my favorite basic dry cutting shears that we have is our HH6. I love it. But this is brand new, so I really cannot quit using it. So if you can look at the hair here. So if we come here, I come here and we look. I'm going to do her 3 fingers deep here. So I come 90-45, I kick this back, and I pop that off. So when this falls over, this is how it would basically fall. So it comes here, and look how much softer that falls. So this is what's going to trip you guys out. I want to create heavy layers and movement, but I always say this before we start this. You have to get the basics first.
Right.
The basics are the 90-45 and 2 to 3 fingers. If you go home and do this immediately, try it on something that doesn't matter, like a mannequin or your mother-in-law. Simple. So let's just look at it first. So let's go here. So we take this whole section.
Oh my God.
What a good client.
Oh, she's phenomenal. She's from North Carolina. She'll be okay. So we come here and watch. I'm going to do the 4 sections, but I'm going to go in deep with her. Okay? So I take this whole section and come over here. So I still do the same 90-45. Okay? But I'm taking and going in here.
Oh.
But I want you guys to think about this. This is still the top of the hair. So if you go in and go way deep and you just start going real cowboy on it, it's going to be a mess. So I'm staying at the 45-degree angle, and I'm taking from here off. And I'm truly sliding this just right through, out to her end. But, okay, but this is what's going to trip you out. Watch this. When I take this whole section, and I comb this over.
Love it.
It just looks thinner.
Exactly, it's no layers. But the layers are there, the layers are short, but it helps everything. Make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
So would this be good for somebody who has like really thick, dense hair and they
Yes.
want it?
Phenomenal. It's good for everyone. It's good for curly. It's the best for curly hair.
You're kidding me.
Could she tie her hair? Would you be able to tie her hair?
Right behind the ear, each side, straight down the
Right
middle.
behind the ear.
It's
straight.
for curly hair like with hers, it's phenomenal. It would be great. But you just don't use a comb, you use fingers.
And then with where they part.
Right where they parted, always.
No, not much tension, but
Barely any tension. Yeah, you don't want to do a ton of tension because you don't want it to spring, but you're doing dry hair, so tension's not really, it's gonna only move but so much. You can do this wet also. I just show this dry because number one, dry don't lie.
Yeah.
And it's not as impressive as just a wet clump that just falls over. So let's look at this. The whole thing, I take this whole section and go over. So my guide now
It's right there.
is right here.
Yeah.
See how short that is?
Yeah. Beautiful.
There's my guide. So I lay this in. I come right here and watch this. So I come in. You guys check this out. I start in tight here.
Oh, I love it. Love it.
So when this falls, it's going to do this. We're going to take this whole section. This is going to fall over, but yet drop in.
Love it.
You like those shears better than the kamikazes?
What?
Yes, unfortunately.
Okay.
And this is the honest truth. Like, I knew what I wanted in this year, and the kamikaze was the greatest year, and still is the greatest year. I had mine redone to make a heavier arch just because I was for life, bro. Get another one. Just reshoe them. But if you use this, it's insane.
But the scissors is what, like, you can't do it with any scissors.
What do you mean?
That same cut.
No, you can do the same cut. I mean, are you going to get the quality without a Hunzo? Absolutely not. It's a Hunzo class.
That's
No.
what I'm saying, like.
No, I like, okay, like this is truly, if you're, let's just talk about a basic dry cutting shear, and it's not a basic shear, it is, and I hate to even say this, but I don't know how to say it, Pete, without sounding bad, because I love every shear we have. Like, this is the H86. This was, and still will always be my favorite basic cutting shear. Probably will never use these shears again, except I'm using the H86 for the rest of my life. But this is, and this makes everything work. Love this. Same thing. But I do a lot of dry slide cutting. That's why I went with this, but that's why I also use the 6, because the 6 is for dry slide cutting too. So let's look at it with the 6. It's going to give the same cut. It's just a different steel. And the higher quality steel you have, the cleaner cuts you get, okay? So back to front. So I take this whole section in here, and I start in deep. And look, this just comes through.
So do you have a visual guideline or like?
I know where it lays. So this is what I do. Every time I comb the hair,
That's me.
I'm so used, because I've been making this haircut up forever. So every time I comb the hair, I pick up the guy, just naturally.
Yeah.
Usually because it's one guy in the middle. So my guy is always right there. So when I comb hair here, okay, I do this. I come through and just naturally, see, I scoop it up. But I don't do it anymore as far as using it as a guide in the class, because the back never reaches the front exactly right, except on this one. And I never show this in a class, like I barely do, because it's more advanced. And I've had people come in and send me pictures on Instagram where all of a sudden it's like a chunk, and all of a sudden they got a damn line here. I'm like, you better get a ball cap with your salon name on it. So check this out. So we come here, and I'll stand in front of it and show you guys how this kind of close legs. Okay, so we come here, and we come across this way, and look, this is my 6, so I'm coming in tight. So if I look here, my guide's right here, okay? So I lay this in, and see how deep it's going. But I'm still on a 45-degree angle all the way out.
All the way out.
So when it comes around, everything's going to fall in, and she has all the complete layers that she wants
Beautiful.
without the lines. Make sense?
Yeah.
Any questions?
Love it.
All right, stand up.
Shortest piece. Where's the shortest piece?
Oh, honey, it's right there.
Right at the apex.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't know that is the shortest piece.
You have no idea. This is not like, and look, I comb it, drop it in. Because here's the thing, everything that we're doing is interior work, but look, swing your head up. It's real life, right? Thank you. You're welcome. Glad you made me. Where are you going? Stand right here. So let's look at the back. Now let's go into, I'm going to use one side with the HH1 and one side with the HHP. Not to compare, because they're not comparable. It's two different shears. Because the one does not cut a straight line. The P cuts a straight line. So I turn the cape around because number one, I hate capes. And number two, I hate chairs. So I like to stand my clients up here. So it comes here, hold this under your chest. So let's start with the one. So the 1 is strictly a dry slide cover. So this is my question too. Step up. Okay, so if I look at the back and we look at her hair here, I have no earthly idea why as a hairdresser we do this. We come here and cut across the bottom. Because what we're doing when we look at the body and the head shape, it's making the body square. Make sense? Then a woman's body or a man's body, doesn't matter, but a woman's body is not square. So we take our hand and rub it from the top of the shoulder, from the round, not the top. Because I want to cut the front and the back at the same time. So I take from the round of the shoulder, and if I naturally let my hand flow, this is not natural because of space here. Make sense? If I start here and drop, it drops and drops to right here. This is the sweet spot. This is what makes the whole back, body, everything move because it's the lower back. It makes this round. It makes this round. It makes this round. But it does. It's not everything, but it's true. It makes everything move and swing. If the back's straight, nothing's going to swing, and we all know round bottoms bounce. So,
Compensate with hair.
long back, exactly right. But I mean, we're not really trying to make their actual bottom round. I'm talking about the round of the hair. I'm not really looking at women's bottoms that much, but I mean, let's just be honest. But let's just go into, let's do this right here. If we do this, you let the hair, you let the shear do the work for you. That's why we're hairdressers, because we don't work for other people. We let, we do work like this. So we let the shear work for you. So I'm going to close and slide at the same rate. This is my HH1. So I come at the high point of her shoulder. I put it all the way in as deep as I can. Okay? I close and I move and let my hand move down the body. You see that? So it comes here and I'm flowing down her body in order to cut this in. Same thing with this side. See how this slides through? No tension, and just let it do what it does here. Because I want it to create the same shape as her body with this.
Jeez.
So what we're doing is we're coming here and just coming through and taking this off. And I'm taking this around with just her body shape. So let's switch back, let's switch to the HHP. Same thing, just, I don't know what you're saying. It breaks my heart, so I feel like I'm talking about my wife, but I'm not. But it's like makes it a little bit smoother. She makes my life easy. So let's go here. It comes in deep and just slides right through. I come in here and it just slides right in and slides through. So when we look at this now, you see how it's dropping. It just took enough off to give her roundness. So now we need to cut the bottom. So I take her here, I pull this into a ponytail. Okay? So when I pull this in a ponytail, I come here and take it in my hand, and as soon as I get it in the middle of her back, tuck your chin as far as you can, baby. So she has to tuck her chin. So I take it here, and I come in and twist it. Doesn't matter which way you twist. What happens when you twist hair?
It's gonna go.
Bevel.
Creates an arch.
Yeah.
Okay? So I'm going to take a little bit off. So I come down to right where her hair rounds in here, and I come through. I'm going to cut some length off, okay? I'm doing this here. I may not ever see her again, but I may. Who knows? So when I